you're watching this video because you know that having that self-discipline is worth it. Okay? If you don't think having self-discipline is worth it, turn off this video right now. Okay? Alpha team, what up, what up? I'm gonna tell you guys essentially the 4 things that you need to do, very importantly, that you need to do in order to build up your self-discipline. Okay? I've had an issue with this for a long time. I've just been slowly working through it, and I've finally sort of established a better self-discipline. Obviously, there's things that you can still work on and you can get better at, but these are the 4 main things that I think every man should do in order to increase your self-discipline. Reason number 1, finding your purpose. Now, this is something that's a very big concept, and it's insanely hard, right, for you to actually do this. But basically, the man that has a purpose will have discipline. The reason why is because anything that he decides to do will be, there's a goal towards it, right? So there's a reason why he needs to do this thing, right? So for example, us as individuals, so I work a 9-to-5 job, right? So when I'm working right now, I don't have the self-discipline, or I don't have the discipline. I find it very hard to get up and go to work, right? Because I know for a fact that it's not my purpose in life. I wasn't put in this world for me to do this 9-to-5 job in a field that I'm not even interested in. You need to have a reason to do the task, right? So with all of you guys, the thing that you're sort of looking for here is you want to get up and do something, right? But you don't have the discipline to actually do this thing, right? And the reason for this is because you don't feel an inner need, an inner why as to why you should do this thing. If you're constantly doing things that you don't have an interest in or don't align to your purpose, then having that self-discipline will be hard, right? Because you're going to be doing things that you don't even like to do, right? And you don't see a point in doing it. You need to basically know your goals and the tasks that are needed to get there, and then commit to all of those items, right? So all of the tasks that are needed to get there, you just need to commit to it, and that's how you'll have sort of a why and a need to build that discipline. Okay, part 2, okay, the second thing that you need to do, you need to take ownership, okay? What I mean by take ownership is essentially you need to take ownership for your life and the spot that you're in right now, right? The state of your life currently, you need to take ownership for it. You can't blame this on anyone or anything. For example, let's say, for example, you can't wake up, right? This is not something that you can blame on, let's say, hypothetically, your parents, because your parents never instilled that discipline in you, right? Your discipline comes from internally, right? It's not something that you can pull from external places. For example, there are people whose parents have absolutely no discipline, yet this person is insanely disciplined, right? So you can't use a scapegoat and say, okay, he's the reason why I can't do this, or this is the reason why I can't do that. But you need to take ownership of that state and that specific problem and figure out a way to solve it. Part 3, delayed gratification. The successful among us, they sacrifice, right? They sacrifice things. Like, for example, let's say you're eating, okay? You're on a diet, you're trying to get shredded, you're trying to get down to that 10% body fat, right? The people that you see that have that body, that dream body that you're looking for, they've sacrificed, right? So when you're, okay, let's say, for example, you're going out with friends or your parents are cooking this specific meal, they sacrifice the pleasure of eating that meal so that they can have that potential reward in the future, which is, for example, the 6-pack. The 10% body fat that you're looking for, the dream body that you're looking for. Discipline means that you're capable of making sacrifices. You're essentially bargaining with the future, right? You're making a deal with your future self that, yo, I'm not going to eat this shit that's bad for my body, but in return, you're going to give me this body that I want. Part 4, practice voluntary hardship, right? What this is basically, you want to, when at those points when you are comfortable, right, you want to do things that you don't feel like doing. For example, hitting that extra rep. That's like when you feel like you're failing, right? That helps build discipline. The reason why is because you're at failure. You can't pick up the weight anymore, right? You can't do anything. However, you push past that, and what happens is it makes you tougher and mentally tougher, and that in turn will build your discipline, right? Other examples are taking cold showers, eating clean food. So at this point, right, no one is forcing you to do any of this, but you're voluntarily doing it so that you can build that mental toughness. For example, David Goggins, crazy self-discipline, but what he says is, you force your body to do all these things, right? So you push yourself, you build that self-discipline. At that point, what happens is the mind realizes, okay, he's pushing the body like this. This is the new normal. Like no matter what we do, he continuously is doing this, is doing this, is doing this. And you get used to it, right? So it becomes your new normal. So your mind has no choice but to adjust to that. So those are the 4 things that you need to do in order to build your self-discipline. Realistically, self-discipline is about taking control of your mind, right? If you are able to do that, on the other side of that is greatness. Technically, okay, it gets easier. Self-discipline gets easier. For example, you start doing good things like, okay, you're waking up early, you're hitting the gym, you're going hard. All those things get easier. However, it doesn't actually get easier, because what happens is when you reach this level, you keep pushing and you keep pushing and you keep pushing. So at any point, it's always going to be hard. But what you're going to see is overall, your life is going to change because of the level of self-discipline that you've got. Once you develop the self-discipline and keep pushing yourself and continuously think about improving your life, you grow. You become a beast, a monster, an alpha. Be an alpha.